more stable oxide precipitate of manganese. To perform the fixation step, carefully remove the stopper from the bottle and add 1 ml of manganese sulfate solution to the water sample using a 1 ml pipette. Using a second pipette, add 1 ml of alkaline iodide azide reagent to the sample. Make sure that the pipette tips are immersed well below the water surface in the bottle when adding the reagents. Now carefully stopper the bottle, taking care not to introduce any air bubbles. You will observe a brownish precipitate of manganic hydroxide begin to form in the bottle after addition of the reagents. The intensity of the brown color is directly proportional to the dissolved oxygen content in the water sample. Now pour off the excess water sample which was displaced from the bottle during the addition of the reagents into a small waste beaker. Thoroughly mix the reagents with the water sample by vigorously inverting the bottle several times. Allow the precipitate to settle down. At this point, the oxygen content of the water sample has been fixed into a more stable form. If circumstances do not permit proceeding to the next step of testing the water sample, maybe because you are still in the field collecting other samples, or a lab setting is far from your location, etc., you may store the bottle in a cool, dark place for up to 8 hours and proceed to the next step once the situation permits. However, it is always advisable as far as possible that you proceed immediately to the next step without delay. At this point, before you proceed to the next step of testing, fill the burette up to the 0 mark with the standard sodium thiosulfate solution using a funnel. Keep this aside and proceed to the next step of testing. Using a 1 ml pipette, carefully add 1 ml of concentrated sulfuric acid by letting it flow down along the neck of the bottle. Make sure the pipette tip is immersed just beneath the water surface. Now carefully stopper the bottle again. Pour off excess displaced water sample into the waste beaker and dissolve the precipitate by vigorously inverting the bottle several times. Using a 100 ml pipette or a 100 ml graduated cylinder, take 100 ml of the sample and introduce it into a 250 or 500 ml Erlenmeyer flask. Now titrate the sample using the standard thiosulfate solution in the burette. Run the thiosulfate dropwise from the burette till the brown color of the sample in the flask becomes pale yellow or straw yellow. Now add 3 to 5 drops of starch indicator solution to the sample and mix well. The sample now turns blue. Immediately continue the titration until the first disappearance of the blue color on the addition of a single drop of thiosulfate to the sample. Repeat the titration about 3 times using fresh 100 ml samples taken in fresh Erlenmeyer flasks.